Hello, I'm Ralph McLean. Ards Guitar Festival is 25 years old. Now, obviously with the lockdown they can't celebrate the way they'd like to, but we want to give you an idea of just some of the magic that comes with Ards Guitar Festival and the magic that it brings to the whole borough. I'm here in Windmill Guitars. I'm going to hear some performances and talk to some of the people involved in the Ards Guitar Festival. Joined now by Emily Crawford. Emily, tell me about your role in the Ards Guitar Festival.
Okay, well, I am the Arts and Heritage Manager for Ards and North Down Borough Council, but by default that makes me the Director of Ards International Guitar Festival. So whenever I came into post 15 years ago, I adopted the festival and that became part of my remit. I am not a musician, I'm not a guitarist, but I have learnt a lot over the years and I definitely know good music whenever I hear it.
Incredible festival, the Ards Guitar Festival. How did it start?
Okay, well, way back in 1996, so we would have been 25 years old this year, the then Ards Borough Council set up the festival primarily because of the high quality guitar maker that was based in the borough. So back then it was Loudon Guitars, then Avalon Guitars, who are still based in Ards today. And that was really the impetus behind establishing the Guitar Festival all those years ago. So way back then it started as a very small, purely acoustic festival. And then over the years it has grown and expanded, and now there's all kinds of guitar music. There's electric guitars, it was kind of acoustic and classical to start with, whereas now we've got all the genres you can think of in there, so it's really grown over the years, but primarily it was as an economic and tourism driver for the council. Ards and North Down Borough Council now very supportive of the festival, and we hope that we can see another 25 years.
It's an amazing thing, isn't it, the love for guitars that we have in this country, and the festival has shown that, hasn't it, down the years, the passion that we have for guitar playing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's something that, you know, everybody can kind of resonate with. I mean, we try and programme up and coming young local acts alongside the international acts, and it just acts as a platform then for local people to get involved as well. But I think everybody, you know, whether you consider yourself to be a muso or a real music fan or not, you know, there's a guitar player out there that I think everybody can say that they really love their style, and it's something that is very accessible to people. It's not so niche that people can't find it accessible, so it's great.
There are different aspects to the festival. Emily, tell me about the three main threads of the Ards Guitar Festival.
Yeah, well, of course there's the gigs, so the main part of the festival really is the live music and the concerts that people can come to. So those take place over a period of 5 days, based in Newton Ards. We start off with a classical night, we go through the technical, percussive, acoustic music. There's usually some electric guitar in there with maybe a blues night or a kind of rock and roll night. And we also love a bit of bluegrass. Sunday we have a weekend wind down on Sunday afternoon, which has been really popular. You've hosted a brunch event for us, which we've sold out a number of times in recent years, which has been a real fan favourite. But we also do the Fringe Events. We do free gigs during the day at lunchtime, and those are really for people who maybe aren't sure if the festival's for them and they kind of want to dip their toe in without maybe committing to buying a ticket for a gig, so they can come along and enjoy those for free, bring in a coffee, have their lunch while they're enjoying some live music. And the workshops have proven really popular over the years because they're a very intimate, small workshop. This is with really high caliber international artists, and it's not often you get that opportunity to be really up close and personal. I mean, we're taking very low numbers, maybe 10 or 12 people at a time, to join in on a workshop with maybe somebody that they have followed and admired their work for years. So that's a really, really good opportunity for a bit of personal development and learning tips and skills from the masters.
Well, obviously with the lockdown it can't be happening in its normal way this year, but in a normal festival event, how would you describe the vibe, all these different styles of music, all these different styles of guitar playing? What's the vibe that ties it all together for Ards Guitar Festival?
Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, just there's a real buzz about the place during that time, and we know that people like different things, and there's a very eclectic mix of tastes and styles out there. So we really do hope that we've got something that appeals to everybody. But really, the thread that's weaving through all of it is really high caliber guitar playing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. You can be a fantastic singer-songwriter, but what we're looking for are the people that are really, really fantastic guitar players, and that's something that we can promise every year. And you know, the artists love coming and playing for us, which we're really grateful for, but you know, we don't usually have to try too hard to get them to come to Newton Ards. They're always really keen, and the festival's established a pretty strong reputation over the years, and we get a lot of people saying, you know, we can't wait to come back and play your festival. So
because you've focused in on guitars, that reputation has become a global thing as well. Tell me about some of the artists that have been represented here down the years from an international perspective, some of these incredible guitar players.
Yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky. There's been some fantastic big names over the years. I mean, it's hard to believe, and it predates my involvement, unfortunately, by a year, but Rodrigo y Gabriela actually played in Newton Ards. They played in the Ivy Bar, they played in the Queen's Hall, just before they kind of started to get really big. We've had some fantastic artists like Pierre Bensusan, Carlos Bonell, fantastic classical player, big bands like the Albert Lee.
People will talk about the Ards Guitar Festival as being something special, and bringing the internationals together with the local acts, that's a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think it's something really special as well for the local acts that, you know, I've had guys play and girls play on stage and say, like, I never thought I would get to share a stage with this person, you know. I mean, we had a couple of local guys supporting the Martin Simpson gig, and they're kind of going, wow, this is like a dream to be on the same stage as you know, as Martin Simpson. We had Brian Keenan, who's a fabulous classical player, and Colin Reid. Colin Reid, I think, played the first festival, quite possibly 25 years ago, and they supported Pierre Bensusan when he played. So to have, you know, the best of our local music on stage with these fabulous international artists, I think is something really special, and it's given them a really good opportunity.
In terms of local stars as well, you've been able to acknowledge some of the really big hitters and sort of pay tribute to them as well with an annual award. And I've seen some great people pick that up down the years. That's been something special too, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've been doing a Lifetime Achievement Award, not quite since the very start, but it came into existence in 1999. Simon McBride, most recently 2 years ago, received the award, the four of us.
Sarah McQuaid.
Sarah McQuaid, yeah, absolutely. And actually she was the first female recipient of the award, and we hope there'll be many more to come. And so that's a real highlight of the festival, and we usually keep people guessing as to who's going to receive that. And that's really just to acknowledge people's contribution to guitar music over the years, and people that have really achieved something in their field and in their genre and their style of playing.
So Emily, what about personal highlights down the years? What acts have really impressed you?
Oh gosh, there's been so many. I mean, during my time, Martin Simpson has played for us 3 times. He is always a standout performer. He received the Lifetime Achievement Award. There's also been Michael Manring, an amazing bass player. We don't often have too many bass players taking a solo headline slot. And the likes of Antoine Dufour. We've had some really fantastic international artists, Mike Dawes. 2017, we did a fabulous Rumours Retold. It was the anniversary of the Fleetwood Mac album.
That was a
Rumours.
great night, wasn't it?
Yeah, really fantastic. That was all local artists. So we had the likes of Matt McGinn, Donal Scullion, Paul McMorty, Anthony Toner, Ken Haddock, all taking on their favourite song from that album, from the Rumours album, but they were all done in their own style. They were reworked a little bit and rearranged, and Cormac Neeson took on the iconic chain, so we ended the night with the chain, and Cormac took on the vocals of that one, and it was, again, just something really magical happened that year. And I think whenever everything just falls into place, there's something special that happens with live music, and I think really that's what everybody's been missing. There's been so many over the years, but all outstanding performances.
In terms of local heroes, Emily, you've got people like Henry McCulloch. You know, to have a guy who played on the stage at Woodstock and he played with Paul McCartney and Joe Cocker and all these things. To celebrate that, I mean, that's been great as well, hasn't it, to acknowledge our homegrown heroes?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had some really amazing performances over the years by homegrown talent, and we always make a point of including our own homegrown talent alongside the international acts, and they're absolutely holding their own up there, you know, on the international scene. So we've had the likes of Henry that you mentioned. We've had Ards McLean, loads of the kind of younger up and coming acts as well that have supported them, the likes of Gavin Ferris, Gary Lutton, a number of local acts. Toucan were fabulous. They were a Sligo based 4-piece. They were doing that kind of acoustic guitars covering dance music. They were doing, like, you know, Fatboy Slim and Daft Punk and all this kind of thing, way before it feels like anybody else was doing it. We had them play in a support slot, so they were 4 fantastic guitar players there.
Well, brilliant. It's been an incredible 25 years, and we're looking forward to the next 25. Emily, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralph.
This woman sitting beside me here, Gráinne Duffy, is a real stalwart of the Ards Guitar Festival, has played many, many times. We're going to talk to her about her experiences and how it's been in the last year as well, being a musician in Ireland. But first we're going to hear a tune from the woman herself. Here it is, Gráinne Duffy.
Take back our mistakes and rearrange. See all the good things yet to come. 'Cause I was just about to start having some fun. So shine it on me, hey, hey, hey. Shine it on me. Change up all your mind. See all the good things yet to come. So now it's time to shine brighter than the sun. So shine it on me, hey, hey, hey. Shine it on me, hey, hey, hey. 'Cause I want you to see all the love that I have in my heart and in my soul. All the love that I have, no, I'll never, never let you go. All the love that I have, right here deep down inside. All the love that I have, right now is the time to shine it on me, yeah. Shine it on me, hey, hey, hey. Shine it on me, yeah. Shine it on me, yeah. 'Cause I want you to see, yeah.
Gráinne, that was brilliant. What can you tell us about that track?
That's a track that was brewing for quite a while. Actually, we had that kind of even before this album came into fruition, but it was one that I originally recorded as a solo kind of track on the previous albums. I don't know if many people have picked up on that, and this is more of a rocky kind of version on this album. But I also did a cool funky version that might be released somewhere down the road with the fabulous Pappenfuss brothers, Carl and Ken from Relish. So we did kind of a version of it as well. So it's one of those songs that's kind of been yanked in lots of different directions.
I mentioned your connections to the Ards Guitar Festival, and it's something that you've held very close to your heart down the years. It's a wonderful festival. What are your key memories of it?
I think like my first memory was going into this like ram-jammed bar, and it was just jammed, and obviously the atmosphere was electric, which please God we'll get back to having electric festivals again. But whenever we went in, I remember there's a great atmosphere brewing in the room, and we were playing up in the corner, and I think we were like wedging our gear in through people, and it was one of those old school festivals that I loved, that the energy was just there. as soon as you walked into the room.
Energy is the word, isn't it? Energy.
Yeah.
The energy of the Ards Guitar Festival
Absolutely.
is special, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
Do you miss playing live? Because during a pandemic, that all ends for artists like you, and it's your lifeblood, isn't it, really?
I think so, yeah. For us, like, you know, whenever you're away from it for a while, you're like, God, that does take so much energy, but it also gives so much energy. So it's only whenever you come back and you do something like this, you realise that is what I'm really missing in my life. It's actually very therapeutic for you yourself as an artist, but I really miss that interaction with the audience and going and meeting new people and playing with other bands, and just even the chatter backstage and the sound of the audience getting ready outside and you're going on stage, everything like that. But the performing end is obviously what I miss the most, just that, you know, playing the songs you've written, especially with a new album in the can and you can't go out and play it. So that's something that's inside you, like a wee, you know, niggle trying to get out.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you've got that music that you want to play to people.
Exactly, and when you've spent all that time recording it and writing the songs, and then it's kind of like, it's like releasing it to, like, you know, do this abyss of nothingness. But at the same time, I'm hoping that it'll just like make you even more pumped up and ready to go when the time comes.
The community of musicians, and you have sort of mentioned it, Grania, you know, how musicians all connect together, and something like the Ards Guitar Festival brings people together. And I think of the great Ronnie Greer, who you play with so often, and people of that stature. I mean,
yeah.
that's a big part of it, is the sharing the music with other
Yeah.
musicians, isn't it?
And that's what I love about the lineup in the Ards. I've seen over the years they've brought people from north and south together, or they've brought people who you wouldn't have thought would have shared the stage. They've brought them together. I think that's really interesting. Like, you know, when you see that on a bill, that's what would attract me to a festival.
And music's an international language, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like, you know, you could be playing music with people who can't even speak the same language as you, and you could still like make your own musical conversation. But I think even myself and Ronnie, yeah, we've had great gigs at things like Ards, and the support around like Northern Ireland in particular for that style of music has been really brilliant for us.
So you've kept smiling, you've kept the positivity going, Grania, through all
Well,
this.
we've been lucky because we've had our little baby girl through this. So we had, so Millie May was born in September, so she's kept a smile on her face as well.
When I think of you, Grania, and I think of your music, you think of blues and rock and soul and country, and Ards Guitar Festival's always had that, hasn't it? That mix of styles.
Absolutely, that's what I love about the lineup. I'm always intrigued when I see the lineup because I'm like, okay, this is brilliant because it's bringing together, like, really and truly, I don't believe so much in having strict genres on things anyway. It should really, like, music is like a melting pot and you just bring all your influences in, and I think that's what's great about the lineup. It just shows that, you know, a music lover, if the music's good, they can probably listen to anything as long as it's, you know, it's good quality music, you can enjoy it. So I think the Ards has always been on that road, which is brilliant.
I'll keep on making the great music,
Oh,
Grania,
thank you,
and
Ralph.
hang in there. And
Oh,
we
hang
hope we'll see you at the next Ards Guitar
Me too.
Festival.
Thanks very much for having me.
Grania Duffy, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
We're going to take some music right now from this man, Paul Sherry. We're going to talk to him in just a moment, but first, let's take a tune.
Nothing take away that pain. Nothing that belong the way. We're all the same. I see it all so clear. Sometimes it's hard to get there. We're feeling just the same. Reaching out for truth deep inside of me. Walking through the life of living, keeping all the faith you're saying. Reaching out for truth, looking out for you. Walking through the life of living, keeping all the faith you're saying. Anyway, my heart's beat the same. Anyway, love is always here. And all I do, I feel at least to this. You're searching for the things you want, but nothing stays the same now. Reaching out for truth deep inside. reaching out for truth, looking out for you, walking through the life you're living, and keeping all the faith you're saying. You gotta find it now. You gotta find it now. You gotta find it now. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Reaching out for truth deep inside of me, walking through the life you're living, and keeping all the faith you're saying. Reaching out for truth, looking out for you, walking through the life you're living, and keeping all the faith you're saying.
Paul, that was brilliant.
Thank you very much, Ralph.
Tell us
Thank
about
you.
that tune we've just heard.
Yeah, it's a song called Truth. It's off the new album, and yeah, the new album's coming out later this year. And that song's actually from the electric side because writing the album myself and Ronan Morgan, I wrote it and he engineered it, and we sort of thought long and hard about it. And that's from the electric side, like I said. And it's split into two sides. The first lockdown, myself and Ronan got together and we said, right, okay, perfect time for getting into the studio. So for me, of course, there was a lot of negatives, with the pandemic, but there was also a lot of positives, creatively. It was sort of a good time for meditation and living with less.
In terms of the Ards Guitar Festival, you've played this festival on many occasions. Can't do it this year because of the lockdown. You must be missing it.
Absolutely. It was an amazing festival. Great energy about it.
Some good memories of those late nights in the Ivy Bar.
For sure. Really, really amazing energy, great people. And also it focuses on a lot of the musicianship is really high in this festival. There's been a lot of great, been a guitar nerd. A lot of great guitar players passed through it, you know what I mean? And will continue to do so as well, So yeah, it was really, really cool.
This is kind of all we can do when we can't have the full festival, but it has been brilliant to get some live music. Paul Cherry, thanks, mate.
Thanks, Ralph, bud.
There are loads of people involved in the Ards Guitar Festival every year, but this man here sitting beside me knows all the inside stories about what makes this festival tick and what makes it so magical. Paul McMorty's here. Great to see you, Paul.
And yourself?
This festival is something special, isn't it? We can't do it this year, we weren't able to do it last year, but it's a festival to celebrate, isn't it? Going right back to the kick-off of the festival, Paul, is a tough question, but personal highlights, you looking back, any gigs stand out? I mean, we were here all night, but personal ones that really stand out to you?
For me, personal things are things like the late great Eric Roach. Just a phenomenal fingerstyle guitarist, and probably one of the guys who was really driving that whole percussive thing going. And Thomas Lieb was a student of Eric's, so that's how I met Thomas, through Eric. Then coming closer to home, you've got the likes of all that I can think of is American names at the minute, but Gary Lutton. I mean, the first time he played that Songbird, that was just like, what?
And Gary's up there with the very best, isn't he?
I would say so.
And for a local lad to be punching at that weight is fantastic, isn't it?
I mean, people do, again, it's that thing again where you phone them at 10 o'clock in the morning and it's like, what are you doing? Well, playing my guitar, you know? What are you doing at 11 o'clock at night? Well, I'm looking at guitars, thinking about guitars, and I'm thinking, how come he get away with it?
We need the festival, don't we?
I think so.
We need to get back to it, and we need to get it all started up again because the talent needs the platform, doesn't it?
I think so. I think it's all very well sitting in your house playing the guitar, and I highly recommend that. I mean, I spend my life doing that, but at the same time, to put a deadline on your work, to be able to say on the Friday night or the Saturday night, you must be capable of playing 40 minutes, and this is your work. So it tightens the screw in the. I think it's like the Olympics. I mean, what's the point of training if you actually? I often say this to kids about what's the point of training for a football match if you actually don't play football? You can kick a ball against the wall all day long. It's not going to make you your best. Do you know what I mean? You need to get hacked in the shins a couple of times before that happens.
Look, we hope to get it back in full flight as well, as soon as possible.
DB, and that's the way we want it. We'll maybe get a wee run at it in the autumn and try to get a couple of live nights going and everything
Get
else.
that community back
The
together
community.
again.
That's another part of the history that's come across with the Loudon factory and the Avalon factory. I mean, we have two of the greatest, well, world-class guitar makers in just in the local area, let alone going up and seeing anybody else. I just think that's amazing.
It's amazing, isn't it? That talent, that range of styles as well. You know, when you think you go from the fingerstyle playing to the rock players to the blues players to classical, the festival does it all, doesn't it?
Well, the Classical Guitar Festival, the Classical Guitar Society has been part of the festival from day one. Amateur group, meet every month, go through their pieces. They come on stage, they do a great show. I mean, none of that, we're always able to, through the back door, to get one of these great classical guitarists. And what they don't realise is all those rock guys are still looking at this classical, oh, shh, he's going to play. You know? It's just, it's been amazing. There's been some amazing guys. We brought over two Argentinian guys, Narciso Sol and name eludes me at the minute. But Narciso Sol came over from Argentina and just started to play tango guitar. Victor Villadancas, that's the other guy. And the next year, because Narciso came, he told Victor, and Victor then came. And honestly,
look, it's been an amazing journey so far, the first 25 years of Ards Guitar Festival. Just got to look forward to the next load as well. When we get back on track, it's going to be amazing. The passion, the quality, it's all there, and hopefully we'll get to enjoy it again really soon. Paul,
yes.
It's always a pleasure.
And yourself.
Keep on keeping on.
I'll not do any of that.
None of the handshakes, but you can do an elbow if you want to do an elbow.
Thank you very much.
Rock and roll, eh? Rock and roll.
All the best.
We're going to take some music from Paddy Anderson. We're going to talk to the man himself right after we hear this piece. Paddy Anderson there performing for us. Paddy, beautiful piece. What were you playing there?
That was my own piece, solo flamenco guitar piece. It's in the style of alegrías, which is a style of flamenco from Cádiz, in the southwest of Spain, which is a beautiful city, known for its coast and carnival and happy people.
You can tell by your pronunciation you've spent a bit of time in Spain, haven't you?
It's the only really place to learn this type of music. I mean, now with YouTube and the like, you can learn from here, but you need really to understand the music even before you touch the guitar. You need to hear a lot of live or community performances where it's from. You know, it's like folk music here. So if you're not there to pick it up and learn about it, it would be difficult to understand the music.
You have to immerse yourself in it, really. You have to.
I think you do. It's like learning a language, isn't it? You know, you can go to classes, but you really need to go to the place and speak it before you have any sort of authentic. You can put across anything authentic. I don't know if authentic's the right word, but you know what I mean. In Spain, flamenco guitar is only a part of flamenco. Guitar's an accompanying instrument, really. 90% of the time, solo flamenco guitar is a pretty new thing. It's really only from the 20th century. But I don't have singers here, so I've had to kind of try and express on the guitar what would normally be expressed by a singer and a dancer, which is a challenge, especially as flamenco guitar generally. I mean, sometimes you can play pieces by Paco de Lucia, but you also are expected to kind of come up with stuff yourself. So as well as trying to get your technique to a place where you can do it, you also have to think up ideas that go together that you can play. So you've got to be really into it. Really, there's a lot of time, as you can imagine, that goes into it.
Tell me about this guitar, beautiful work of art that it is.
Yeah, this is a flamenco guitar from Granada. Granada is a city where I lived for 4 years, and it's in the southeast of Spain. It's known for its guitars, and this is a guitar made by Manuel López Bellido, who's still around, but he's getting on. He's in his 80s. It was made in 1978. It's Brazilian rosewood back and sides and spruce top. It's a flamenco guitar, which is similar to a classical guitar, but with a slightly different build and different wood. It's lighter and brighter, whereas a classical guitar would tend to emphasize sort of rich, sweet sounds. The flamenco guitar is built for projection and brightness, I would say.
Tell me about the Ards Guitar Festival and what it means to you, Paddy, and has meant to you.
It's fantastic to have a guitar festival on my doorstep, you know. And since I got back from living in Spain, I've had, been lucky enough to perform a few times at the festival in different guises. I also play Latin music with a duo called Los Dramáticos, and we've performed with that, and we've also performed with some artists coming over from Spain, some flamenco artists from Spain. So, without the Ards Guitar Festival, I wouldn't have had any of that, without travelling a great distance.
I love the atmosphere at the festival. I love the vibe of the festival, and it is special, isn't it? It is a bit different. As an artist, what does it mean to you in terms of being on stage and playing at the festival?
Sometimes with this type of music, because it's quite niche, it's difficult to get it across to some audiences in this part of the world, depending on where you're playing. But at a guitar festival, people are coming to hear a guitar, and that's your instrument. So you have a chance to do stuff like I did today, which is an instrumental flamenco guitar piece. It's quite niche and not necessarily totally accessible for everybody. Although I hope I transmit enough emotion and energy and color that people will appreciate it. But at a guitar festival, you get a different level of scrutiny from an audience who want guitar music, which is brilliant. Also can be nerve-wracking because you've got a critical gaze.
A lot of guitarists in that audience.
A lot of good ones in that audience, looking. So, but it's fantastic. It's a challenge.
It's great to have the outlet for that, the specialist music, as you say. I mean, You know, it is niche, but it's great to have an outlet for it, isn't it? It's great to get somewhere to play your music.
It is, and you know the broad spectrum of genres. You know, the festival always, you know, gets in acts. You know, I really appreciate the festival getting in flamenco acts, for example. It's difficult, and a lot of festivals don't do that. You know, they would focus on, you know, they would focus on things closer to home, maybe. But you know, the festival always has, you know, Latin, flamenco, classical, rock, jazz, blues, pop, gypsy jazz. You know, it's fantastic.
For a musician like you, then you'd be kind of lost without it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know about lost, but my life would be poorer without it. That's for sure.
What's your best memory of the festival? Your various guises that you've appeared at?
Well, as a flamenco fan and a flamenco musician, it was amazing to see Jose Manuel Leon, who's a fantastic guitar player, along with Salvador Andrade, who came 6 years ago for a fantastic flamenco gig. As an audience member, that's what struck me. As a performer, it's all good. As a performer, you're thinking about your performance, aren't you? So you enjoy it in a different way. You enjoy it in a different way. And if the audience, if you get appreciation from the audience, you know they've enjoyed it, then you're happy. Of course, we're all neurotic and we're worrying about the 10 notes we played badly rather than the 1,000 notes we played fine. But if you can get over the neurosis, then you're happy.
And you live locally here, Paddy, so to have this on your doorstep is something to celebrate. Good. Well, we wish you all the very best. We hope to see you back on the stage of the Ards Guitar Festival.
Thank you. Look
Very,
forward
very
to
soon,
it.
Paddy. Good man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We have something extra special for you now here on this celebration of the Ards Guitar Festival here in Windmill Guitars. This man here has played at the festival many times. I think he's one of the very best in the business. Gary Lutton, we're going to chat with him in a moment, but first let's take an exclusive performance. Gary, that was magic.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, and not on your own either.
Yes, no, good to be here. And good to be joined with Matt as well, you know what I mean? Back me up whenever I need something extra.
Listen, the festival, it means a lot to you, doesn't it? It's a personal thing.
Yes, I mean, I've been playing the festival for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or something now. Pretty much ever since I've been doing this kind of fingerstyle guitar scene. The festival's been a real support and a real opportunity to meet some of my, guitar heroes, Thomas Lieb and Antoine Dufour and those kind of guys, you know what I mean?
So for the culture of fingerstyle guitar playing in Ireland, how important is Ards Guitar, do you think?
I think it's amazing because I think, Northern Ireland in general just has a real culture of fingerstyle guitar. It's something you don't get really anywhere else, even in places you go to Germany. There's not as many, high-level players. Well, maybe, geographically speaking, as we do here, and I think Ards Guitar Festival is a big part of that. You know what I mean? It's a large-scale festival. We get big names coming through here, and that creates a kind of a stir for guitar music.
And in my experience, it's real listening audiences too, isn't it? It's people who really want to get into the nitty-gritty of the songs and the performances.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need that for certain types of music at least, you know what I mean? So if it's an acoustic instrument, for me, a lot of the good information is the subtle information that's quite low in the mix, you know what I mean, really? So you generally speaking need a fairly quiet audience to really get the richness of the acoustic instruments across.
And the different venues is something that's always really amazed me about Ards Guitar Festival. You can go from the kind of busy pub gigs to the real listening crowds. Yeah. It's a variety of different spaces, isn't it? Which as an artist must be kind of refreshing.
For sure. It's good to have spaces that suit particular forms of music better, you know what I mean? So you can go to the pub gig and you can see the rock and roll blues stuff, and then you go to the sit down gigs and you can hear more kind of intimate sets.
Do you think the festival has changed your playing? Has it changed how you approach performance? Have you learnt from the festival and adapted even?
I mean, probably just over the years, really from meeting other artists who have been playing the festival. And I know one of our favourite things about playing the festival is just hanging out backstage, you know what I mean? Sometimes there's 5 or 6 of us on the road, and we're all just sitting there warming up over the top of each other.
Never gets competitive, no?
Well, sometimes
Little bit.
Yeah. Sabotage somebody's guitar before they go on.
Have a great show, crying.
Yeah, that's it. But I think that's the main thing, is getting to meet other people who are coming in, local artists and international artists as well.
And you know what you're talking about, because you've a doctorate in this gear, haven't you? Not everybody goes this far.
Some people would say that disqualifies me, you know what I mean?
You've thought about it too much?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I suppose my doctorate was practice-based, so I essentially got to spend a couple of years really focusing on my practice, you know what I mean? And reading the occasional article.
So does it mean can you flash a pass or something? Can you
I do, all the time on the way home, yes.
Let me through,
Yep.
I'm a professional.
That's it.
I take it you're down to get back on the stage. It's great to get a performance today.
100%.
But to get back properly to Ards Guitar Festival and all the places you play, that's got to be a priority for you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely can't wait. Even doing little things like this, it reignites the spark that many of us haven't experienced in over a year now. So it'll be great to get back on stage, especially now I'm working with other musicians, you know what I mean? So to have that kind of live dynamic, you really need to be live on a stage.
Well, look, we're hoping to get you back to Ards Guitar Festival as soon as possible. In the meantime, it's been great to get that performance today. Gary Lutton, it's always a pleasure, mate.
Thanks, Ralph.
Well, that's just about all from our little taste of the magic of the Ards Guitar Festival here from Windmill Guitars. Hope you've enjoyed the music and the chat, and I really hope to see you at the Ards Guitar Festival when we get to do it properly on the stages as soon as possible. Thanks to everybody who has supported the festival, and indeed will continue to support the festival through these tough times, and we'll see you all really soon. Thanks from all the team, and from me, Ralph McLean. Take it easy.